Hind Swaraj or Indian Home Rule. Preface. Mahadev Desai writes, when Lord Lothian was at Saigon, he asked me if I could give him a copy of Hind Swaraj, for, as he said, all that Gandhiji was teaching now lay in the germ of that little book which deserved to be read and reread in order to understand Gandhiji properly. Curiously enough, about the same time, Srimati Sophia Wadia was writing an article on the book, exhorting all Indian ministers and MLAs, all the British and Indian civil servants, indeed everyone who wanted the present non-violent experiment in democracy to succeed, to read and reread the book. How can a non-violent man be a dictator in his own home, she asks. How can he be a wine bibber? How can a lawyer advise his clients to go to court and fight? The answers to all these questions raise highly important practical issues. The people's education in Hind Swaraj, in which these problems are dealt with from the past of view, from the perspective and from the point of view of principles, should be extensively carried on. Miss Wadia's appeal is timely. Hind Swaraj was written in 1908 during Gandhiji's return voyage from London in answer to the Indian School of Violence and published serially in the columns of the Indian Opinion, edited by Gandhiji. Then it was published in book form to be prescribed by the Bombay government. Gandhiji had translated the book for Mr. Kallenbach in answer to the Bombay government's action. He published the English translation. When Gopal Krishna Gokhale saw the translation on his visit to South Africa in 1912, he thought it was so crude and hastily conceived that he prophesied that Gandhiji himself would destroy the book after spending a year in India. With deference to the memory of the great teacher, Mahadev Desai writes, and I quote, I may say that his prediction has failed to come true. In 1921, Gandhiji, writing about Hind Swaraj, said, it teaches the gospel of love in place of that of hate. It replaces violence with self-sacrifice. It pits soul force against brute force. I withdraw nothing except one word of it, and that in deference to a lady friend. The booklet is a severe condemnation of modern civilization. It was written in 1908. My conviction is deeper today than ever. But I would warn the reader against thinking that I am today aiming at the Swaraj described therein. I know that India is not ripe for it. It may seem an impertinence to say so, but such is my conviction. I am individually working for the self-rule pictured therein. But today, my corporate activity is undoubtedly devoted to the attainment of parliamentary Swaraj in accordance with the wishes of the people of India. Even in 1938, Gandhiji would alter nothing in the book, except perhaps the language in some parts. But whether India may be ripe for it or not, Mahadev Desai writes, it is best for Indians to study the seminal book which contains the ultimate logical conclusion of the acceptance of the twin principles of truth and non-violence, and then decide whether these principles should be accepted or rejected. On being told that the book had been out of print for some time and that a few copies of its Madras edition were available at 8 annas a copy, Gandhiji said that it should be published immediately at a nominal price so that it may be within easy reach of those who may wish to read it. And therefore, the Navjeevan Publishing House has published Hind Swaraj at practically the cost price. Mahadev Desai, Wardha, February the 2nd, 1938. A word of explanation by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. It is certainly my good fortune that this booklet of mine is receiving wide attention. The original is in Gujarati. It has a checkered career. It was first published in the columns of the Indian Opinion of South Africa. It was written in 1908 during my return voyage from London to South Africa in answer to the Indian question of violence, Indian school of violence and its prototype in South Africa. I came in contact with every known Indian anarchist in London. Their bravery impressed me, but I felt their zeal was misguided. I felt that violence was no remedy for India's ills and that her civilization required the use of a different and higher weapon of self protection. The Satyagraha of South Africa was still an infant, hardly 2 years old, but it had developed sufficiently to permit me to write of it with some degree of confidence. What I wrote was so much appreciated that it was published as a booklet. It attracted some attention in India. The Bombay government of British India prohibited its circulation. I replied by publishing its translation. I thought it was due to my English friends that they should know its contents. In my opinion, Hind Swaraj is a book which can be put into the hands of a child. It teaches the gospel of love in place of that of hate. It replaces violence with self sacrifice. It pits soul force against brute force. It has gone through several editions and I commend it to those who would care to read it. I withdraw nothing except one word of it, and that too in deference to a lady friend. The booklet is a severe condemnation of modern civilization, in quotes. It was written in 1908. My conviction today is deeper than ever. I feel that if India will discard modern civilization, she can only gain by doing so. But I would warn the reader against thinking that I am today aiming at the Swaraj described therein. I know that India is not ripe for it. It may seem an impertinence to say so, but such is my conviction. I am individually working for the self rule pictured therein. But today, my corporate activity is undoubtedly devoted to the attainment of parliamentary Swaraj in accordance with the wishes of the people of India. I am not aiming at destroying railways or hospitals, though I would certainly welcome their natural destruction. Neither railways nor hospitals are a test of a high and pure civilization. At best, they are a necessary evil. Neither adds 1 inch to the moral stature of a nation. Nor am I aiming at a permanent destruction of law courts, much as I regard it as a consummation devotedly to be wished. Still less am I trying to destroy all machinery and mills. It requires higher simplicity and renunciation than the people are today prepared for. The only part of the program which is now being carried out is that of non violence. But I regret to have to confess that even that is not being carried out in the spirit of the book. If it were, India would establish Swaraj in a day. If India adopted the doctrine of love as an active part of her religion and introduced it in her politics, Swaraj would descend upon India from heaven. But I am painfully aware that that event is far off yet. I offer these comments because I observe that much is being quoted from the booklet Hind Swaraj to discredit the present movement. I have seen writing suggesting that I am playing a deep game, that I am using the present turmoil to foist my fads on India and I'm making religious experiments at India's expense. I can only answer that Satyagraha is made of stern stuff. There is nothing reserved and nothing secret in it. A portion of the whole theory of life described in Hind Swaraj is undoubtedly being carried into practice. There is no danger attendant upon the whole of it being practiced. But it is not right to scare away people by reproducing from my writings passages that are irrelevant to the issue before the country. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Young India, January 1921. A bit later, Gandhiji writes a message in Segaon, or Sevagram, on the 14th of July 1938. He writes, I welcome your advertising the principles in defense of which Hind Swaraj was written. The English edition is a translation of the original, which was in Gujarati. I might change the language here and there if I had to rewrite the booklet. But after the stormy 30 years through which I have since passed, I have seen nothing to make me alter the views expounded in it. Let the reader bear in mind that it is a faithful record of conversations I had with workers, one of whom was an avowed anarchist. He should also know that it stopped the rot that was about to set in among some Indians in South Africa. The reader of Hind Swaraj may balance against this the opinion of a dear friend, who, alas, is no more, that Hind Swaraj was the production of a fool. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Sevagram, 14 July 1938. Jai Hind.